Good afternoon. Welcome to the August 7th Resource Management Committee. I'm Gretchen Hanchett, Vice Chair of Resource Management. May we start with roll call?
Mr. Curran, Mrs. Hanchett,
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mr. Sear, Mr. Demick,
Here.
Mr. Fanton,
Here.
Mrs. Ricketts Wales,
Here.
and Mr. Harris. 5 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is approval of the July 3rd, 2024 minutes. Can I have a motion?
Ricketts Wales will move that.
Demickle second.
Any corrections? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
It's passed. First on our agenda is Scott Torrey. Welcome, Scott. We'll start calling you the money man. All the money you bring in.
You have my report in there. A couple additions to that. We are currently harvesting the Rattlesnake Hill lot of timber. Emily's been checking on that periodically, and it seems to be going well. And for the Platte Stream project, we did submit the permit application to the Army Corps this week, so hopefully we'll have something back on that soon.
Good. Do you have any other projects that you're just finishing up or soon to be finished?
They're all in different stages.
Okay, that's all right. Too many, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Healy?
Rattlesnake Hill.
Yep.
Refresh my memory what we got out of that money-wise.
Seems to be in the $150,000 range. I can't remember the exact number. That was for mostly ash.
Okay, any other questions? I guess the one is the Genesee River Belmont Stabilization Plan. Do you want to remind me of that?
So this was application to pay for engineering plans. It's actually just north of here, kind of behind the Amity Town Barns,
Okay, all right. I
to
remember.
washing towards the houses there, so.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Next on your list?
We are currently ending the 18th year of our contracts with the county. Each 3 years, we get a new contract with money that's allocated for operations of our, soil and water. So the current one expires at the end of this year, and we're requesting a renewal of that contract with an increase of funding to $200,000 per year.
Demickle move that. And second.
Any other questions? All right, I had a chance to read through it. We certainly know the importance of our work with you and what you bring into the county, so I certainly approve of it. Any other questions, comments? Carissa?
Usually I prepare the MOE for these and you don't make our contractors come in and ask like this, but I did not have an MOE ready for today. So what I'll do is if this committee is approving this, is I'll have an MOE ready by the time it gets to Ways and Means, and it'll be on that agenda for that referral. And then we'll move it on to resolution, so.
Okay.
I just didn't want you to think that there wasn't going to be an MOE at all. We still have to go through and have the contract approved and all that, too.
Okay, good. I thought probably we had a few more steps, but very thorough work in what you put together in a letter that I believe we were all copied on too, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll be looking forward to the, do we need to vote on this to move forward? Yes. Okay, all in favor? Oh, Legislator Healy?
Roughly, can somebody tell me the round numbers, the value of the services you provide to the county?
That's a
And
moving.
more for the listening public than.
It's right,
Right, more for the listening public than.
So just, I think I guess our total investment, in the previous 2 years of our contract return was roughly $3.2 million.
So very, very good investment for the county.
Yeah, in the last 2.5 years, we've had, I think, a little over $6 million in projects approved for grants, so.
I had it there in print, but I wanted it on the record there so that the public would be aware of that. Thank you.
And since 2010, we've had roughly $19.5 million in grant projects approved, and 15.1 million of that's been state or federal money. So
I think that's why I call you the money man. So, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll move forward and look forward to that MOE.
thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, could I make a small point about what Legislator Healy just said? You know, we have these agendas and you have all these attachments to the agendas. Those attachments, if I'm not wrong, don't make it to the minutes. So if you have a point like that you want to make sure makes it into the minutes later, it is helpful to put it on the record like that. And Brenda, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't include the attachments in the minutes, correct?
We have started attaching some of the one-page monthly reports, but if the monthly reports or attachments are too extensive, the bulk isn't, we're not able to have them all with the minutes.
It would make your minutes unreadable.
Yeah.
But if there is something that, you know, especially if it's not in the MOE, but it's in a report or you think it might be helpful, it is okay to bring that up and put it in the minutes.
Okay,
It's actually helpful to us in the long run.
Right, I would love to see portions, if, I'd like to see all of it from the letter that's here, but certainly I think we should probably pull out some of the highlights and bullet point it. That way, when it's in there, it's a better understanding of how important it is and what you bring and to help out our environment here. So
Okay.
Brenda can tell us how we need to do it for that, what's appropriate, and so,
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is Laura Hunsberg, Cooperative Extension Director. Welcome.
Looks like a small crew today.
Summer.
Very dedicated. And I do not expect our 16-page update to go into the minutes. Felt bad even sending it, but if it's sent to me, I feel the duty to send it on to you. And, yeah, it's riveting stuff knowing, you know, which kid won grand champion, you know, goat shower or pig massager, right? Exactly. Okay, so just a couple things I'm going to point out. I mentioned last time that we are holding our annual Farmer Neighbor Dinner again this year. It will be at the Lake Lodge in Alfred. I have put a flyer in all of your mailboxes, so feel free to check it on your way out. If you're getting one in the mail anyway because you attended in the past, feel free just to pass it on to somebody. There's information down here about sponsoring. If you want to buy a table of, 8 seats or something, or if you have an external business and want to put up a table to show, that kind of thing. So, got to get in there early. Second, SNAP Ed. As you know, we have a 5-year contract that just came through its 5-year cycle as of last week. So we had been waiting and waiting to hear if everybody had gotten the funding for that, and we were just informed. I think it was probably last week, maybe the week before. So we were kind of biting our nails, not really sure what was going on over at the state. For 4-H, as you know, the fair was a great success and fun for all. We are not going to be bringing our state fair winning entries from the youth building up to the state fair. We only had 11. So to bring them up to Syracuse is sort of not a great use of our time. So there will be a private show, local show, I guess is a better word, at the David A. Howe Library. I will let you know the date of that. It's not on here just yet, but I'm pretty sure it's in September or October. So you can come and see everybody, no animals, just youth building things, and no food. So none of the apple pies that won, that kind of thing. And we have our annual 4-H Achievement Night, which is going to be September 27th, and that is here in Belmont at the library. Our annual meeting, which we will send out information on, is October 29th, which is Tuesday before Election Day. And Andy Turner, the new director for Cooperative Extension, will be our speaker. So it would be, we do not have a location yet. We haven't figured that out. We know that last year at the library, it was a little tough with the stairs for everybody to manage that. So we're looking for something on one floor. So.
Sounds good. Any other questions for Laura? Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for all you do. Next on the agenda is Gerald George from Chafee, and we have the privilege of listening to him speak about, as we all know, how important small farms are and some of the struggles that they are, and just some key points to help. So welcome, Gerald. We're glad to have you here and look forward to hearing what you say. And I think you have a sidekick with you too, that if he wants to come up and say anything, he certainly can too.
Yes.
But
Yeah, so I'm a
welcome, both of you.
Well, thanks for having me. I was at the county fair and I met the gentleman over here at the booth, and I started talking to him, and then we talked about coming to the meeting. I explained to him what's going on the small farms, and they want to get rid of us a lot of small farms. In 2021, I went through a matter where the milk inspector made it so I couldn't ship my milk. I jumped through hoops. I did everything I could do. I talked to my vet, and the vet told me I needed to talk to a lawyer. Talked to a lawyer, said, yeah, they can't do what they're doing. I filed a lawsuit against the cooperative. I have it filed in Buffalo. I got an 11-page decision in my favor. They breached a contract. All the stuff they did, they were trying to do it so they would get rid of me. They didn't want to send a milk truck over to pick up my small amount of milk because I was a small farmer out of the way. Found out in the deposition that they had done it to 5 other farms. So since then, I've been trying to figure out how to make the communities aware that this is what's going on. It's not only the co-op that I was in, it's other co-ops. I could mention names, I don't know at this point it matters. But this is what's going on, and it comes back to they just want to have the milk truck come to these big farms and the heck with us little guys. And the reason I'm here is like the small farms are smart, the communities, where the big farms, they hire the Mexicans, the money goes back to Mexico, and the community comes like a ghost town. So I started farming in 1983 on my own. I bought a farm where I am in 1987. I've been there 36 years or so. And I wanted to address the issues of the federal government sets the price of the milk. But then so many of the fixed costs, the taxes, the insurance, the things that are involved with the towns and counties are affected with the cost of production. And when the cost of production gets more than they're paying us for the milk, there's a problem here. And in this case, we don't have a Department of Labor that says, well, you didn't pay us enough, we can go over there and they make us pay it. This is what comes back to. And one of the things in the course of learning all this thing, I talked with Mr. Snyder, and he said, oh, there's a law about this. And then we got the law, he gave me the law, and I presented that to you also, that the Commissioner of Agriculture has the power and the means to make it so that farmers get a fair price, and that would be this paper here that I passed out earlier. And I'm not sure how to get it from the ground level to the higher up people, because I'm starting at the ground doing it myself and trying to get people behind me. There's other farmers I wanted to bring. They're busy, they're this or that, and they're all complaining. They're all talking about this is all we're getting for our milk. And I says, right up the road in Franklinville, there's a big cheese plant, $715 million. I've been to the town board meeting in Farmersville for the last 2 months, and I expressed what was going on there. They say in the paper, and I passed out the paper that was in the Arcade Herald from a year ago, they say they're going to take the milk from the local farms, which is a lie. I talked to Deb that writes for the paper. I sat right next to her. They wouldn't take the milk from my co-op after a certain point. There was a contract deal through Upstate Niagara Milk. The Middlebury milk, where my milk got shipped to, was going into Cuba Cheese. Once that contract was done, they wouldn't take the milk anymore. My milkman was at the Cuba Cheese plant, dropping off milk samples like he regularly does, and they begged him for the milk on the truck, and they said, oh, he said, get on the phone and call somebody. They came back and said, we can't take the milk. So they tell the people, they tell the towns, they get the grant money, but yet the local farmers are going out of business because of that factors. The other thing I wanted to address too is they're building another milk plant in the town of Webster out by Rochester. This one here, they're trying to, they're only going to involve a few farms on that one, and so on. The other point I wanted to make is I've been in contact with Patrick Galvin's office, he's helping with the FFA kids. And my point is, how is anybody going to get started farming? You can go to FFA. The farms that are here, they're getting rid of us because nobody's speaking up. I'm here to speak up and say, could somebody help us? I'm not sure who, I'm not sure how, but if I don't address it in a way, then you don't hear. I'm here, I wanted to bring up other farmers, and if I can come back, I can bring them also. I also have in the Buffalo paper in 2016, I didn't pass this out, the Empire State Development back when 2016, when Lucille Ball got $20 million. There's a farm up near me, they got $15.3 million. They're building and building, they're just buying up farm after farm. And it's like, how does this work when one big farm's gonna control the food supply? And if something ever happened to that farm at some point, then what happens then? The other thing I wanted to address, and the Country Folks paper, the Small Farms Quarterly, there's a story in here about the suicide rate on farms. I wanted to copy this and give it all out. I can probably do that later. And it's like the rate is so high, and it's like, it's not just a job that we have on the farms, it's a way of life. And when you have farms that are carrying on generation to generation, and then when there's not the profit there because they didn't get the fair price for their product, then why would anybody else want to come and work for nothing? And then the next thing, it's like the farm sits empty, the community becomes a ghost town. I guess that's about the gist of it.
Yes, legislator Healy.
So this handout, particular hand.
Correct.
This particular handout you provided to us, is that from the New York State Ag and Market Laws, or what law is that from?
Yes, Mr. Snyder got that from me. It's in the McKinney's Law book.
So is that from the Ag and Market
Ag and Markets
Law? Okay, thank you.
It's from the Ag and Markets Law, and Richard Ball should be the one that should be involved. In the course of my matters with the legal stuff, I've contacted Ag and Markets several times. They tell me what's going on with my case shouldn't be happening. I talked to Casey McEwen back December 8th, and I told him all this stuff. He says, oh, I'll get back to you. He hasn't got back to me. Every time I call, he won't call me back. And it's just the way it's going. It's just corruption from the top. They won't give us a fair price for our product. It costs so much to make it, and if you don't get enough for what at the end of the day, then you sell the cows, go out of business, or sell the farm and go away. Mr. Snyder, do you want to add anything? Sure. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Snyder. Please come up.
We met in the elevator.
Oh, did you? I've heard that before.
I had the McKinney's Law book. I was holding it, so that's how he knew who I was.
Yeah.
I have the documents that Brooke Harris, you gave me a nice copy from your Washington trip. We have a lot of grants, a lot of federal monies. The money man's here. If you read the grants, which I do, they have a firewall built into all the grants relative to what my shirt says,
Oh, the raw milk.
okay? Does anybody know why that firewall is there? They do not fund raw milk producers.
Right.
Any guesses? I don't know the answer, if there is an answer. It's called the dairy lobby. The dairy lobby is larger than the military lobby. See, agriculture is the number one economic driver of our economy. And dairy is the biggest portion of it. And dairy is big in New York State. And the copy of that law, we had a Farm Bill listening session 5 years ago at Alfred State College. And I read that standing this close to Commissioner Ball. in the SLC Center. And I gave him a copy of Crisis and Opportunity by John Eichert, which is a book about our food system. And the solution is you have to go outside the box. Okay, which we have done at Sunny Cove Farm. We have an on-farm store. My son, I'm retired, my son took over the farm 2 years ago. April 29th was the last day we shipped milk because it doesn't work for small farms. I've talked with farmers and they've called me from all over America. They're looking for what can they do. And the only solution that I've found is to direct market. However, there's a problem there. The raw milk permit that I have ties me to my farm location. So for 4 years driving to Buffalo to North Tonawanda Farmers Market, I took all of my products, but it was illegal for me to take my milk. Since then, we have an online store, and we've developed CSAs in Eden, Hamburg, North Tonawanda, all of Western New York, Jamestown, Olean, Naples, 2 in Pittsford. And the way it works is 25 families. So Jan, you be the coordinator. And her responsibility is, her location is where everybody picks up their food. And it starts with milk. Milk is the lost leader in the grocery store, right? If you got the cheapest milk in town and they put it in the back corner, they know you're going to spend money on everything else. And so these consumers have a 2-week contract, it's a CSA, for their milk, and they take turns every other week. So if there's 25 families, that's 1 trip a year. And they come and they pick up the milk for that CSA. We have to limit it to the size of a minivan. We've got a Tesla yesterday we loaded with 16 crates of milk, 8 half-gallon jars in a crate. And then they can put add-on orders online, and they can buy beef, they can buy syrup, they can buy honey, all the products that we have. This gives the farmer the opportunity to set the price, to have a direct relationship with the consumer, and we're employing about 6 people at the farm. The money stays local, it creates jobs, it keeps the food system, and the milk from the cow this morning is in their refrigerator for dinner. It's fresh milk today. Now, why would Commissioner Ball refuse to meet with me to promote this? Sounds like a win for the county. I mean, this is a county that needs development. I got another mailing yesterday from a solar developer offering me money. I've got 400 acres, $2,000 an acre to lease that land. I've got to pay taxes. I've lived here for 70 years, and what I'm doing is the solution, but the commissioner refuses to meet with me to promote it. They don't even answer my emails or my phone calls. So I started calling his secretary, Michelle, and asked for a meeting, and she said he will not meet with you to talk about that problem. And that's his job.
Well, it certainly has been a frustration. I know many people in this room who work with our farmers and so forth understand that frustration and have looked at different ways to solve it. We have a couple CSAs in the county. In fact, we actually had a chance for a legislative tour to go for District 5 and went to see it. So I think it certainly is the answer, but you've got to have more people on board. I mean, I know that probably many of us understand and support it, and we're from a rural area, and we're behind you. Finding what the solution is or the next steps, I don't know what that answer is either. I mean, because it certainly is above us that these prices are set. I don't know if you've reached out to Cornell to see what process they're making. I know legislator Brooke Harris sits on the ag for the state. I'm sure it's been a discussion on your committee meetings, correct?
Not so much of the state. It comes up periodically with NACO, but you guys know the problem. The problem
Right.
is the government sets milk prices based on ensuring a small margin profit for giant dairies. And that's why small farmers are getting pushed out. But it's not just a matter of economics. The federal government has shifted their priority away from stabilizing prices to focusing on the export market. And when you do that, then your milk prices are subject to the global economy of milk. And so you have to fluctuate your export prices in order to stay competitive. And so I think that's a problem that maybe isn't addressed enough. How you address it, I'm with Gretchen. I have no idea how to address it. But, I'm sorry, was someone saying something?
No.
But, we're happy as a board to advocate on your behalf, but we need direction. We understand the problem. We don't understand the solution. Like, if you're going to argue against something, and that's, the way the federal government is affecting small dairies, we have to have some kind of solution as an alternative. So if you guys have something like that, we're happy to advocate on your behalf.
I've got them with me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Brooke.
If I can. The other thing I wanted to throw in there, like up the road from me in Alma, there's Stu Ben Foods. It's an organic place. They take all the organic milk. So the organic farmers here are going out of business because they don't pay enough for the milk. But they're bringing milk in from Texas, the state of Wyoming, Indiana, all from out west. This milk is on a trailer for 2 days, bringing it all the way in. But the farmers here are going out of business because they can't get a fair price. Jerry's milk was going there at one time, and then he left there because the price went down, and here he is, doing what he's doing. And not everybody, he's got a great thing. I agree 100%. It's just that it takes people to make it all happen.
Right.
Not every farm has that ability to do it.
Or know who they can contact. So yes, solutions, we certainly want to support it, and we understand it, and it's a big part of our livelihood here in Allegheny County, and really Western New York, being rural.
I mean, when you go to the county fair, and the county fairs were put together so the farmers could bring their products and their animals to show, and now when you go there, there's not many there. In Erie County, they got a birthing place where the people come to watch the calves be born, and they always had a lot of cows. Now they don't even know whether they're going to get enough cows to do that.
So I have the Census of Agriculture, quotes from Tom Vilsack. Anybody know that name? Yeah. This survey is a wake-up call. It's essentially asking the critical question of whether, as a country, we are okay with losing that many farms, okay with losing that much farmland, or is there a better way? So this, they lost 20 million acres this last year in agriculture. The farms are getting fewer, and they're getting larger. Mm-hmm. And if you understand, this is not a solution, because if you have a 10,000 cow dairy and a 30,000 cow dairy comes into business, you're no longer the cheapest producer.
Right.
And so now you've got to go to 40,000. They just continue to add cows. Now this brings problems with the soil. They've got to spread that manure, and they've only got a time frame because the ground's covered with corn until the corn comes off, and then it's covered with snow. We're painting ourselves into the corner in our food system. Now let's back up to the real problem, and it is the Farm Bill. The sheets that you gave me, I've got sitting back here, billions of dollars. Now, what does it support? If you go to Iowa, they import 95% of their food. Iowa. They grow corn, soybeans, they feed hogs and cattle. And it's polluted, it stinks, and the people have to bring in real food for humans from somewhere else. Now the corn, 35% of that is for ethanol. That's not food. The soybeans are not a healthy product by any means, but because it's subsidized by the Farm Bill, and the bigger farm you have, the bigger your check is, the money man's back here, right? The bigger the project, the bigger the dollar amount. He's my buddy. So why are we doing this? Why are we funding a farm bill that puts, most of the farms are small farms, and they feed us real food. The smaller farms are way more productive per acre than these huge scale farms. More environmentally friendly, and the food is healthier, and it's local.
Right.
What is driving the price of food up? It's consolidation in the processing, but what about the retailing?
Mm-hmm.
You guys aware of what's going on in the retail?
Oh, yeah.
Driscoll's sells berries. Driscoll's does not grow one berry, but they control the berry market. So if you're Wegmans and you want to have berries for sale for your customers year-round, you do business with Driscoll's because they're the big player. And they have multiple supply chains all around the world, and the people are not getting paid what they need to get paid because this is third world countries. We are feeding ourselves food at the laborer's expense, and the only people making money are those that control the market.
That's true. So kind of going back to what Chairman Harris said is finding some solutions.
Okay.
I really can't think of any of us that wouldn't want to support it. And just kind of, we as a county board have a hard time driving a movement. We certainly can support it. I hope you have the opportunity to keep going on further, going down to Albany, and then collecting your support behind it, because you're kind of preaching to the choir here. We get you. We get you, and we
I
want
understand
small
that.
businesses to
I just came to
survive.
hear him. I'll sit down.
Oh, no, you're fine, you're fine. But that's really, as Chairman Harris said, we want to support you. I think you need to keep in touch with us on if there's any resolutions that it comes back to that maybe we can send to the state on the behalf of our small farmers and small businesses. I know that Cornell Cooperative Extension, the Farm Bureau, and that, even though they're tied with their government, sometimes their hands are tied too, but they're still fighting for our farmers. I know several years ago we had 800 farms in Allegheny County. I had a count done on them when I was going through for businesses. Laura, do you know what we're at now? Or Scott? But it's down from 800, isn't it? Yeah, so we see what's going on too. So that's what my recommendation. I'm sure there's other people here that would like to recommend, because we do want to help. Legislator Healy, you had a question?
No, I just was I didn't know if you guys have talked with Kathy Young up at Cornell.
That's what I was thinking.
And I would say she'd be a good person to advocate and talk to. She has a lot of connections from her previous life on both sides of the aisle, political aisle. So she might be a good person. Get on your side and
Tried that.
did you? Didn't work?
I met with Kathy Young in 2007 in Jamestown. She had meetings across the state, and I testified about the corruption in the milk business. And back in 1985, there was a big movement. There was some guys from Herkimer County that came around, and they put together a bunch of farms, and we dumped milk in Machias, and I had the arcade paper with the 5 milk trucks where we dumped the milk, and then she asked about, did it help? It helped for a little while, but then it went right back to what they're doing.
And you said Pat Galvin's trying to help you?
I've got a meeting coming up with Patrick Galvin here at the end of this month, and then the other one I got a meeting through Farm Bureau with Nick Langworthy out of Washington.
Well, Nick's a good guy.
I thought I would start at the groundwork. I'm going to go to the other counties that are around me and, get the word out. This is what's going on. There's farms between here and where I live that are, that are in trouble. And, there's a thing called New York State Farm Net. I talked with the man about 3-4 weeks ago. He said he's got 12 farms on the edge of going out of business. He couldn't tell me who they are because of privacy thing. And I reached out to his boss. I said, can you have them people call me to get a bunch of us together to have more voice? and he wouldn't even help me with that.
I'm sure, well, I know Congressman Langworthy and Senator Gallivan, I know they'll, and probably all our people on this end of the state will do anything they can to assist you. But we got the same problem. We all have the same problem with the political makeup of where the power is in the state. That's the biggest problem. But good luck is about what I can tell you guys. We're behind you. I don't know what we can do for you, but if we can, we will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Legislator Burdick?
I know from my town, the solar projects are coming in and they're taking a lot of farmland. And they're also paying, like Jerry said, they're paying good money for that land. So do you think that's part of the problem, is that the farmers are looking at having a farm and really struggling? And then on this hand, they're coming in and being offered big money per acre. So does it make sense to keep farming when you can make money to do nothing?
That's one way to look at it, but if you're looking to the future, the next generation carrying on the legacy of the farm, that you work to, it's a way of life that, you work the soil. And when you're going to turn it into solar, then what happens? I was informed down in Ohio, there was a solar farm that had a hailstorm that ruined the panels. The people just walked away. They left it up to the landowners. Then what happens? And when you start learning about the contaminants that come out of them solar panels, it's not good. It's not good.
Find a way to protect our food supply.
And that's why I thought I'd start here at the local level and see if I get some traction. I mean, maybe you can't help me today, but maybe somebody's out there that's watching or listening and say, hey. The other thing I want to throw in, there's a farmer down in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, named Amos Miller. I started watching him on YouTube. He's an Amish farmer. He's been selling raw milk products for 20 years. That's how I called the Snyders to inform us. There's a YouTube channel that's Shepherdess. He feeds 4,000 families. People are coming to him to get his milk. I've drank raw milk all my entire life. Everybody says it's bad. It's not bad. Every farmer drinks it. The milk that's coming off the farm today is so clean that I want to go to the store, buy a gallon of milk, and take it to the lab in Batavia and have it tested for bacteria. Because the milk that's coming off the farm, it doesn't touch the milk. The milker goes on the cow. It doesn't touch any air until it goes in the milk tank. Everything is under vacuum. The things are clean. The cleanliness today is so good versus years ago when they pasteurize it. So the things I learned after they pasteurize the milk, it kills all the enzymes. That's the best part of the milk. But that's why people are going to Amos Miller to get their products, because that's what they want. It's all about feeding the bacteria in your gut. And if you understand farms and baby calves, the reason you feed baby calves the colostrum milk is you want to build the immune system in the calf. And when they get to pasteurized milk, what I learned too is the doctors will tell you not to drink milk because it causes phlegm. The reason it causes phlegm is when they pasteurize the milk, they don't filter the bacteria back out of the milk. And if I wouldn't have been watching YouTube, I wouldn't have known that. I put the milk in the tank, the truck takes it away, I get the check, I think I'm all happy. That's fine until they don't come and pick it up. Then I have to learn all these things and share with all the people that don't know these things. And maybe you already do know that, I don't know. So.
There's a lot to learn in protecting our food supply and our small farmers. And as you can see, you do have our support trying to find solutions. If you come up with something, please let us know. I certainly appreciate, we all do, that you came and shared what's going on. Like I said before earlier when we were talking, you're speaking to a rural area people, and they know how important it is. Lots of times our laws and regulations are deemed by New York State and upstate New York. So thank you for coming, sharing your information, and you have our support, and it's an important one. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, next on the agenda is any unfinished business. Okay, any new business? Jen?
I don't know if this is the right committee for this or not, but if you haven't seen them, I wanted to make sure you knew the the Purple Heart signs are now up in Allegheny County.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Yes, so
Thank you.
Mike Hennessy did do it, and I saw one the other day coming through on the way to Short Track, and he sent me a list. I believe there's 5 or 6 of them that have been put up. So I just want to make sure everybody knew that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business? Good of the order? Okay, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
And I'll move that.
Second? Barnes. Okay. All right, all in favor? Thank you very much.